I have a great question for today. Due to COVID-19 pandemic, a lot has changed with the real estate industry and the mortgage landscape. Rosanna, as a mortgage agent, what advice do you have for people out there?
Hi, Edmond. Thank you again for having me. Before I begin, I just wanted to say that I hope everyone is keeping safe and well during this crazy time that we're all experiencing. I know a lot of people are dealing with some stress, some worries, and some anxieties with not being able to leave their homes, not being able to see their family and friends. And I totally understand. I experience those same feelings on a daily basis as well. But I am trying to remain hopeful that this is all over sooner rather than later and we can go back to our normal lives. So please, just take care of yourselves, stay safe, stay healthy, because at the end of the day, that's what's more important over everything else. We can deal with everything that comes, but our health and well-being is of utmost importance at all times, or it should be. So I guess let's get started with today's topic of discussion, which is an emergency fund. If the coronavirus has taught us anything, it's the importance of having some extra money set aside to deal with situations that may arise that we don't necessarily expect. So today I'll be discussing what an emergency fund is, why it's important to have, and a couple of quick tips on how to begin setting up an emergency fund. So first and foremost, let's start off with what an emergency fund is. An emergency fund is some money set aside to deal with unexpected expenses that are usually resulting from unexpected situations, such as the one we are in with this pandemic. A lot of people weren't expecting this to happen. Some people are losing their jobs. A lot of people are losing their jobs, getting laid off, or they're getting sick or having to deal with family members who are ill and not well, and aren't receiving the support that they need because of this pandemic. So this is money, again, that is set aside to deal with something unexpected that is kind of out of our control. I also wanted to kind of clarify that an unexpected expense should not be confused with an occasional expense. Occasional expenses are something like having to buy school supplies or planning for, holiday purchases for Christmas or, Easter or Valentine's Day or whatever it is that you like to spoil your family and friends with. Or even changing your winter tires. Those should already be planned for in your typical everyday budgeting, because they do kind of arise on a yearly basis. Things that you can't avoid. They do need to get taken care of. So the second point I want to make is, why are emergency funds important? Emergency funds are important because it makes it possible to handle unexpected expenses so that you're not getting into debt. It makes it possible to avoid, having to tap into higher interest credit because you will have that money set aside. You're not having to utilize your credit cards so much or, pull out cash advances on those credit cards. It makes it possible to have some financial control, and it makes it possible to have some peace of mind. When people are stressing about money or how they're going to pay their rent, how they're going to pay their mortgage, how they're going to buy groceries and things that their family needs, those are high stress situations that we kind of want to avoid by having these additional funds set aside. So again, it's very important that you have these funds set aside so that you're not getting into an overly stressful situation. So now I'm quickly going to get into some tips to getting started on setting up this emergency fund. Tip number 1, open a savings account. Keep this account separate from all your other accounts. It needs to be a separate account, something that you can't tap into every day, only when you really, really need to. Try to open an account where you're not having to wait to pull out the money. You can make automatic, quick withdrawals when needed. You're not having to pay high fees, or it's not being locked in for a long period of time, so that you do have the ability to access it right away when you do need it in an emergency. Also, maybe look into an account that while your money is sitting in there is also building some interest. Maybe something like a tax-free savings account. You put a certain portion of money in there and it is building interest for you. You can also take it out really quickly. It probably takes about 1 business day to withdraw from that sort of account. So you want to open a savings account that will allow you to quickly access those funds without some hefty fees or long wait times to be able to pull out that money. Tip number 2, start by saving a realistic amount of money. it can take some time to get to the desired level or, desired amount of money that you want in your emergency fund, but that's normal. So not to worry, save realistically. Think about what you can afford to put into this account on a weekly basis. It may be $5, it may be $20, it may be $50, but it's important to start somewhere because every little bit helps. Right? So have a good starting point for when you're creating this fund. Don't overdo it by saying you're going to put, $500 a week away because it can get discouraging. It can get daunting. You want to be realistic with the amount that you're trying to save, and just know that it will take some time, but at least you are setting that money aside to kind of get you started. You want to be realistic in the goals that you are setting. Tip number 3. Start by saving, or you want to kind of save between 3 to 6 months of either regular expenses or 3 to 6 months of income. Either one works. It's just a matter of you determining what works for you in your particular situation. But a good amount is about 3 to 6 months worth of savings in this emergency fund to kind of keep you afloat if something should arise that's out of your control, again, such as a job loss, an illness, pandemic. But again, keep it realistic and do what works best for you, but start somewhere. Tip number 4, make saving part of your daily habits. It has to be a habit. It takes about 21 days, if I'm not mistaken, to create a habit. So when you have loose change in your purse or your pockets or your wallet, drop it into a container somewhere in your home or in your office. When you have enough money in there, deposit it into the emergency fund. Put sticky notes on your mirrors or your refrigerator to remind you to make a contribution or to save some money. Put a reminder in your phone or in your calendar. But the important thing is making it a habit. Again, figuring out what amount works for you on a weekly basis or a monthly basis and planning from there. Again, please be realistic, but do make it a habit so that it's easier to stick with. And the more realistic the goal and the amount of money that you can contribute, the better it is for you, as it's more likely to stick and you will be able to put that money aside. Tip number 5. I would suggest an automatic transfer from one account to another. So on the days you get paid, if you get paid every Friday, make it an automatic transfer from your checking account or wherever your pay is deposited to this savings account. Again, and whatever increment of money that you choose to contribute to your savings or your emergency fund is up to you. But again, making it automatic is something less that you have to worry about, as it's automatically done for you. You know you won't be spending that money because it's going into that emergency fund right away as soon as you get paid. Tip number 6. Eliminate an expense and save that money. So it's important to determine the difference between a need and a want. A need is something that you are obligated to pay, something that you can't get out of, such as, making your mortgage payments, your insurance payments. You need groceries. You need to pay your rent. You need to pay the mortgage. Those are needs. Wants are something that you wish for, that you desire, that is typically kind of non-essential. So expenses that you can cut and save towards your emergency fund are, instead of buying lunch every day, bring your lunch to work or to school. Instead of buying a $5 Starbucks coffee every day, which I know we all love, make coffee at home and save that money for the emergency fund, and maybe treat yourself once a week to Starbucks. It's about making little changes to your lifestyle to ensure that if something does arise, you are comfortable and not having to stress at that time. Trust me, I know everyone loves their coffee, everyone loves treating themselves to lunch or their friends and family, but depending on your spending habits, you can actually save a lot of money by cutting out one expense and putting that money towards your emergency fund. And the final tip to getting your emergency fund set up is review your goals on a regular basis. People's lives change, the family changes, your income may change, you may have a new baby, you may be getting married, you may, get a promotion, you may lose your job. So it's important to review your goals on a regular basis in terms of what you want to contribute to this emergency fund, to make sure, again, that it does stick, that you are able to do it on a regular basis, and that you do have the money set aside in a situation that you will need it, again, for those unexpected expenses and unexpected situations in life. I hope this information helped. If you guys need any more information, you want to work together on setting up an emergency fund, or determining a need and a want. I'm more than happy to help you in any way I can. Edmond, I think, will be putting my information, in this video along with his. So please do not hesitate to reach out to myself or Edmond. We're more than happy to help you guys in any way that we can when it comes to this topic or anything else, mortgage related, home buying related, or any just advice that you guys need to kind of get started on something. We're happy to help in any way that we can. So please do not hesitate to reach out to us. Again, I hope you guys are all staying safe and staying well. And we will see you guys at our next video chat. So again, stay well, stay healthy, and we'll talk soon. Thanks again. Bye.
Wow, Rosanna, that's a lot of great information, and thank you for that. By the way, you can reach either one of us, and we would be very happy to assist you with all your real estate needs. Until next time, please be safe.